Welcome to A Scrap Life, a podcast solely focused on the hustlers, grinders, operators, and business owners who live and breathe the scrap metal industry every day. Here is your host, Brett Eckhart.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, we are in the new podcast room.
Yes.
This is probably a little echoey, but we're going to get that dialed in. But we haven't done a Q&A in a while. We wanted to introduce everybody to this podcast room in our Caldwell yard. And we plan to pump out a lot more content, a lot more podcasts from all our different brands, our different podcasts.
Yeah, we love doing the podcast because I think it gives people an insight into your business, right? It gives people an insight into other people's business. It just kind of helps, lets people know what you're up to, like what you're doing. And you know, we took this space and it was above our recycling center, and it was just a storage space, and we started talking like, man, let's do something with that. And then I think you and Jay took the bull by the horns and just said, all right, like, and you guys kind of designed it, and Braven, our in-house builder of everything, like figured out a way to get it all done.
Braven put the pieces together.
Braven's the master architect, the master the finish guy, and he got it to the finish line. And here we are, man. It's like, we're gonna get some stuff on the walls. It's gonna be sweet. It's when people come see us, like, I'm looking forward to getting some people in here and picking their brains and getting them into the studio.
Yeah, so if you live here in Idaho, come join us. If you want to fly here and hang out with us for a few days, you're more than welcome. Like, let's get people in here. Let's share ideas. And that's what I love most about podcasting, just sharing the ideas and sharing the knowledge.
Make each other better.
Yeah, I learned something new from everything. So this one, like, we don't have a real, like, exact format on today's. This is, like, our first one in here. But I want to call it a Q&A because I'm going to have the questions for you.
Yeah.
I had a different question set up, but I really loved your post about Adam Weitzman this morning. I loved what you took away from that, because that is something that really surprised me, because he's known as, like, the scrap guy.
Yeah.
He does him and his team do a great job getting him out there. Everyone knows Adam in our industry. Mm-hmm. When he told you, I don't love scrap like you. And he was like, oh, scrap. He also went a little farther. He's like, scrap's like pretty simple, because he has his hands in a lot of other businesses that might have a lot more complicated variables that we're not used to in the scrap industry. And I like what you took away from it, but I'll let you tell everyone that.
Well, no, when you talk to people, I always say, like, when you watch a movie, you might catch something different than somebody else caught, right? When you listen to somebody speak, you might pick up on something different than somebody else might pick up on. It's not necessarily, it's kind of what you're listening for, or what strikes something within you that you want to, like, take home, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was sitting there, I had actually a different, like, quote that I was going to use, and then I came across that quote, and then I started thinking, like, because the way I kind of formulate stuff in my mind is I save quotes as I come across them throughout the day, and then I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I got something for that like rings true in my brain.
Reverse engineer it to, like, where it's a quote and then it relates back to your life.
Yeah, and so then I'll relate it back to our business or what's going on. And I remember sitting in that room in Adam's office, and we were talking about it. And I always knew he had his hand in a lot of other things, and I think that's, like, was always interesting to me. But I was still at that point, like, we were really deep in the scrap business, and we still are, obviously. But I mean, when I look back on that, I mean, my first true love is the scrap business. Mm-hmm. Why we're sitting here today in our fucking show is called, Scrap Life. Like, so, but it's more just like, I think what we've done is we've used our love for the scrap business to help build other pieces of whether it's recycling or pipe or, anything, right? I mean, whether it's tire, shredding, mobile shredding. We got a trailer going on right now. Mm-hmm. We're building storage facilities. We're doing a lot of different cool things, right? Developing property for other people. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, I always love the scrap business. Like, that's what I grew up in.
And you always will.
I always will. Like, that's just what I like. But I'm also super interested in a bunch of other things, right? And interested to the point where like we built up a really awesome team, and like if other people are interested, not necessarily they don't love scrap like I do, but they love business, or like when we hired Casey and he loved property and development, so we allowed him to kind of help us build that part, right? And Braven is really good at contracting. He's great on the property side and the management side, and so we're like, okay, let's help you. You grow you doing that, and then it benefits us as a collective whole. And I think we brought in Craig on the tire side, and he had a background in turning shit into fertilizer, and so he basically had a really strong background in taking something that had no value and turning it into value, right? Which is what we're trying to do with tires. Yeah. And so but that benefits the collective whole, based off of, coming from the scrap side, we're just building the building blocks off of what our first true foundation, our first true love was. So that when I thought about that with Adam, there's no doubt in my mind that, the scrap business for him was an opportunity to build other things he was really passionate about, right? And I feel that same way for us as we grow, our team grows. We find other stuff that we're kind of passionate about that we feel we can take on, and that's how we're building our business. At the same time, we'll have added 3 yards in a year, right? So. We have that first true love is still there.
We're still in the scrap game, and that's my true love too. I mean, I wasn't born into it, but I fell in love with that game. But hearing you talk about our journey into United Storage and the tire reclaim and all those other things, and continuing to grow pipe and all those opportunities that we've developed and have been also presented to us to grow our team, it's cool to see our team grow so much with people that aren't necessarily scrap guys, but
our pipe business is a sleeping giant, right? Yeah. Sleeping in the fact that we don't give it as much discussion but we're working on that. That's one of the reasons why we built this room, right? Because we're gonna have a pipe podcast here soon, and we're gonna discuss, that side of our business. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things that we do is probably a little bit different than your typical recycling, scrap metal recycling facility, but that's what keeps us all,
keeps it makes it that much more fun.
Yeah.
So hit on that. I want to go back about, was it 3 weeks ago? We went to the Grand Canyon.
Yep.
We did the rim to rim. Was it 22 or 23 miles? Somewhere?
20. It's that. Give yourself more credit. It was 23 and some change.
23 and some change. Okay, so we did 23 and some change.
Yep.
I just want to hear your takeaways from it, from what you got from it, how you can relate that back to the scrap industry or just business in general.
A year ago, I went to the Grand Canyon with my family on a road trip. I saw the Grand Canyon, and it's cool, right? If you've never seen it, you got to see it in person. Pictures don't do it justice. And I saw this trail, and I was like, you can take that trail from one side, you can go all the way to the other. Well, I went there with my family. Obviously, I haven't trained or done anything to prepare for this, for that. And I didn't have the time. We were just on a schedule. But I said, man, someday I want to come back and do that rim to rim. Well, I didn't really know it was a big thing. And then we talked to our buddy Chad, and we started talking to you, and I was like, hey man, we want to go do something that's kind of hard. The three of us enjoy pushing ourselves in things we do. And so I was like, well, this thing looks like it probably would push you. And so then we kind of just started formulating a plan. I mean, we booked our hotel months and months ago, and we were like, all right, if we're going to do it, whoever's in, you better start fucking training and getting ready. And it was hard. There's no doubt about it. You can give your take on it. It's not an easy thing to do. And they call them the 1%ers for a reason, right? 1% of the people that visit the Grand Canyon do rim to rim. So if there's, what do they say, they have 2 million visitors a year or something like that, I think. So they said maybe it's 5 million, and so only 5,000 people a year do rim to rim. So it's that's why they're calling the 1%ers, right? And I don't know what the percent do rim to rim to rim, but we knew it was gonna be something hard. But the reason we do hard things is so that when things happen in business and in life, We know we can take on hard tasks. And so we've already built the system internally to take on hard tasks because we know what it feels like to be fucking in a rough spot and have to get out of it, right? And in this case, it was at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I had to climb all the way back out of it. That's a rough spot to be in, no matter who you are and how good a shape you're in. And I think that's the purpose of doing that.
Is so that when things hit you in the face in business and in life, you become super confident and resilient that you know how to get through hard shit. You're like, yeah, I fucking do hard shit all day, anytime I get an opportunity, right? That's why you do it. So the reason why I do it and the reason why I did it, I got to hang out with my buddies. We ended up in Vegas. We went to Zion's after that. We went to Vegas. We partied our ass off for 2 days and we went home. But I got all the things I wanted out of life. Like I got to do something really difficult. I got to hang out with my friends. My wife was in town a couple days later. I got to hang out with her, to watch my son play basketball. Like it don't get a lot better than that. But it started with doing something very difficult.
It all started with a plan to do something we knew it was going to be hard. For the record, I grossly underestimated how hard it would be. But I am really proud of myself. I will toot my own horn on that because I got it done and I feel good about that. And the thing that I was not prepared for that I love the most about it is I was just with myself for 15 hours.
Yeah.
And then, that's a lot of time to just think. And then you really get to know yourself. You might think you know yourself until you're in 110 degree weather and be like, how the fuck am I going to get out of here?
Yeah.
Then you got to be like, well, I got no other choice. Like I got my kids and my wife waiting in Idaho for me, or I met them in LA a few days later. I was like, well, I can't not make it out of here. Like there ain't no one going to carry me out of this motherfucker. Like that thing's the real deal, It
is.
And just to hit on what you talked about, like it does help you, like when you're going have a tough meeting to go to or have a tough conversation with someone or a big task in front of you at work, you can even look back like, well, fuck, if I could do that, like surely I could do this. They're different skill sets, different, but it's all boils down to your mindset. So if you can get your mind right, I really truly think you can do anything. If you can just focus on some tasks that are hard and not be afraid of them and just take it. What I learned on that thing, at first I was pushing. I was like, I got to get done by, my goal was like 13 hours. Yours was 10, I'm like, I had my goal, and that goal went out the window for me because my knee started hurting. And I'm like, I was like, dude, I don't think I can make it by then. Yeah. And then I changed. I was like, okay, I just want to get out of here by 14. And then it did change where I just want to get out of here. And then it changed to I just want to do one step at a time and 20 feet or until I get tired again. Yeah. But then, you do those and it sounds crazy because you're looking about hiking out of the Grand Canyon and you're literally just focused on one thing. But then those compile and you do something huge and awesome. Yeah. And I think you can take that on any big project, It's like everyone says, how do you eat it well? One bite at a time. Same thing.
Yeah, how do you climb out of the Grand Canyon? One step at a time.
One step at a time. Yeah. And I even told my daughter that the whole deal, because we did a big like tear down on these stairs. And she came and helped me and she looked there. She's like, oh my goodness. Like I didn't think it was going to take this long. Yeah. I was like, we're just going to do one stair at a time. And we got done within an hour and a half. It was quick. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I take. Like it's almost so much easier if you don't look at the Grand Canyon, but you look at the one step. If you have
that's like starting a business or getting through a big problem in your life or at work. Like you're not going to solve if it's a big problem. It means you probably took a while to get there. Yeah. Like you didn't get into a big problem today. Mm-hmm. Like there's probably a lot of events that led up to the big problem, which means you're not going to solve it today. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to take you a while to fix it or dig yourself out or whatever the case may be. Right. It ain't no different, which is why. The moment you start trying to take the easy road and you start trying to take days off and you start trying to you allow yourself to slip and you allow yourself, eventually, it's not, I was just having this conversation with our guys earlier, about, and this was more about like running the business and managing the money part. And I said, here's the deal. The big icebergs we see, the big problems we see coming, like those are the easy ones to dodge, right?
Yeah.
What sinks the ship is the 1,000 BB holes, right? All over, right?
Yeah.
And it's not managing this correctly, or like letting that go and letting this go and letting this go and letting this go. It's all the little holes, the pinholes here, there, that creates the issue over time. You can see the big shit coming if you're a decent operator, but you if you're a good operator and you're a survivor, you start looking for all the little things, because the little things compile to make big things. And the opposite is exactly true. It's the little stuff that you do every day, by eating a salad for lunch, by working out, by, being nice to people, like being appreciative, like saying please, saying thank you, like do all the fucking little things, and all of that stuff, it does compile and it adds up in a positive way too. And I think it's no different.
Yeah, you're right. Do the little things, focus on the little things, the big things become easier. If you focus on the big things and not the little things.
So I loved it.
Dude,
I'm going to go back and do the R3. Like I'm going to go back. I'm going to do rim to rim to rim.
Yeah, talking to Braven and KCR guys, they're going to do that with you.
Yeah.
Braven's been a big help with me. He like kind of diagnosed my knee. He's the one that told me what was wrong with it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I already know it's the IC band. I'm like, oh, okay. My dumbass. I was like, I think I pulled my ACL. That's all I know about knees. I'm like ACL and MCL. And but I told him like, all right, I've done it once. I'm not gonna do the rim to rim, but I am gonna do it again. Because I was like, I know how to train better for it.
Yeah.
Now. I know what to be prepared for. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know like what to be prepared for. I know what to do better. And I know where my body started failing.
Yeah.
I can get that right.
Next May, here we go.
I can't wait. All right. Anything else, Brett? Anything
That's
else
it,
to
man.
report?
I'm excited about this new podcast room. Thanks, Sky, for doing what you do. And I'm excited to see how we lay this thing out and dial in it. Really, I'm excited to get people through here, sit down, chop it up, shoot the shit, and talk some scraps, some pipes, some tires, some you name it. Let's talk about it.
It's going to be good. Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Take care.